contrary to international norms, and no one says anything. And it just encourages the bad guys.
Trusted source.
The bad guys to think they
and
can
reporting
do things
news and protecting American.
Speaking up, you may recall a while ago when things were going on in Hong Kong, I was arguing we should speak out, going to the United Nations, but uncovering them. People knows who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. It makes it clear that there's consequences. This happen, not go to war, but consequences, because it affects people's behavior. When we don't speak, it's a little like going back to when Donald Trump stands up and he talks about the way he talks about Muslims, the way he talks about the African Americans, the way he talks about immigrants.
Welcome to the revived.
It encourages really bad
Charlottesville
behavior.
campaign.
Our kids are listening. Well, the world is listening. So we should be speaking out and condemning what they
Iran
did.
Nuclear deal.
We should be the beacon of the world. That doesn't mean you have to send 300,000 troops somewhere. It just says we recognize what you're doing. It's wrong, and we are not going to, in fact, like we in any way admonish anything other than admonish it. Gentlemen, back.
Having a question, I guess. Here's Joe Biden back on the trail.
What would you do to help recruit minority into education, because we don't have quality minority applicants applying for these positions in these schools?
It's a really good question. Some of you may know that I'm Jillian's husband, and that time, and she teaches at a community college now. She has for some time. Overwhelmingly, the vast majority of her students are minorities and/or immigrants. She teaches at Northern Virginia Community College. She teaches full time. She taught for the 8 years I was vice president. She was the second lady, and she still teaches. The fact
Joe
is
Biden,
that we have a problem in education.
Shout out here.
And I'll tell you, it's based on a couple things. Because teachers are not getting paid fairly. A teacher graduates from any great university in this state. They could graduate magna cum laude with a degree in education. They're going to start off getting paid 23% less than anyone else from another discipline gets paid. And guess what the consequence is? The consequence is fewer and fewer people are going into teaching. And so you start off with, we're already about 100, depending whose number you take, 105 or 150,000 teachers short in America right now. Right now. And the projection is, because the baby boomers are leaving teaching, my generation is leaving teaching now, they're retiring, we're going to have somewhere between over 10,000 teachers short or larger as time goes on, because people aren't going in to teaching. Because they're not getting paid in a competitive way. And minorities particularly are not going into teaching. And all the data shows, for example, if you have one minority teacher in a school with African American kids, not majority, just a minority, the students at school do better for the fact there's someone there that represents that minority. Now, we've learned a lot of things. So what I put forward is, I think we have to invest at both ends of the education system. School, like, are you a Title I school? Yeah. So what I do is I call for
They've never done anything for Title I schools.
Aren't necessarily minorities. They could be in cities. They are overwhelmingly.
You're out there, everyone.
But they're people who come from district who, in fact, have.
I'm just saying hi. I just wanted to bring you a little bit of this. 2020 campaign is on the
increased property taxes
go
again.
Not
that many people who can afford the taxes.
Featuring Charlottesville.
They're poor communities by and large. And so what now exists in Title I schools is you have a provision that says
Title
we
I
spend
schools.
$15 billion a year to make up for the shortcomings.
Failing schools. Failing Title I schools
from
that.
$15 to $45 billion a year, which I propose.
Not enough textbooks.
I'll lay out exactly how I pay for it if you'd like me to. But here's what that would do. Number one, the first thing the district would have to do to get that money would be raise teacher salaries. So you get to to the point where teacher salaries in those districts as well as others are competitive and they can make as $60,000 a year. Right now, by the way, average public school teacher takes over $500 out of their own pocket semester to be able to help their students. To buy, this is a fact, to buy pencils, to buy pens, to buy books, to buy whatever they need because they don't have the ability to do it. By the way, how many of you in here are teachers or have taught? Well, guess what? Teaching is not
I'm a
what
teacher
you do, it's
myself.
who you are. No, I really mean it. When you think it's true. Now, so the second thing that requires to get that money, to be eligible for money, is you have to be prepared to make sure that in that school district, every single 3, 4, and 5-year-old goes to preschool. Now, guess why we're doing that? There's been a lot of studies done over the last 10 years showing that if you have a child from a school, from a home that is economically deprived, maybe not have heard, you hear all the studies that children coming from upper middle class home and children coming from a poor home, they will hear 1 million fewer words spoken before they get to school. They're behind the 8 ball to begin with. They have not, their vocabularies, etc., things that are rational and real. But what the data now shows that if you put kids in school,
Hi everyone, this is Autumn with
and they go through
Black
3,
Spring
4,
or Black
5,
Spring with
and then
Autumn,
in the
whichever you're
kindergarten,
comfortable with
what
today.
happens is you
And
increase
I'm just
by
bringing you a little bit of this 2020
49%, the
presidential
possibility
race.
48%,
And
the
as you
possibility
can
they'll
see, we
not
already
only
have some of the
succeed all the
same
way through
themes being
school,
replayed
go on to
from
something beyond
Joe
high school,
Biden in
be able to
Iowa.
go on.
We
And that's in
have the
everybody's
selling
interest,
of
whether you're rich or poor,
Charlottesville again, in
regardless of you.
which
These are our
the
kids.
quote comes
These
back
are everybody.
about
They're not somebody else's
President
kids.
Trump
They're our
saying we have
kids.
very
They're the
fine
kite
people on both
strings that
sides.
lift our national
Still
ambitions
running that
aloft.
clip. We
When the
have
president used to always ask me a State of the Union message, he'd turn
virtue
and say, Joe's
signaling
going to do the following. He loved doing that
in
without telling me.
education,
Well, one was,
Title I
Joe's
schools,
going to handle the Recovery Act, $900
and we
billion.
have fear mongering.
Okay, Joe's going to do it.
So it's the
Remember, I
same
said Sheriff
playbook,
Joe. Well, at least the good thing he gave
but
me was authority. I was able to
I'll be quiet
use, I
and
could
give you a little
hire,
bit more
fire,
of
use
this.
whatever authority the
If
president
you're
has to
here,
get
I
it done.
welcome
But
you
the
to
point
chime
is,
in anytime. Thank you
we
for
went
joining me
out and
here
we
at Black
spent
Spring
$100
with
million.
Autumn. I will be bringing you a story later
$100 million.
today,
Excuse me, close to $1 billion.
and potentially another
Keeping
live
school
stream.
districts from going under because
So
the tax
thank you for
base was
joining me.
declining, the recession was killing everybody, etc. One of the lessons we learned from that is when you invest in these schools, you significantly get a payback that gets far beyond what the investment, in fact, calls for. So the third thing would have to happen with this additional money. You'd have to bring back into the schools school psychologists and social workers.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Black Spring with Autumn. I was just bringing you just a little bit of this presidential campaigning of Joe Biden in Iowa. I mean, he's already started the fear mongering. He had to revive Charlottesville. He's reviving all the racism, black and brown. He keeps threading those themes throughout. It's just it's the same playbook. Talking about minorities, saying that basically supporting the argument that minority children need to see people that look like them in minority schools, citing Title I schools. I mean, I've been a teacher myself. I've been a teacher at a Title I school. Many of these schools are failing schools at that. Hi, DJ Vision. Thank you for tuning in. So I was just telling anyone that's out there that I was showing a clip. I may have got disconnected from the stream, but this is Joe Biden and his virtue signaling and his fear-mongering for America, citing Charlottesville, citing Title I school, saying it's time to take America back. I really don't. You're right. We do need to take America back. It needs to be a well-concerted effort by the patriots of this country to take the country back to constitutional principles, back to less government, back to less foreign entanglements. I agree. I absolutely agree with Joe Biden on that.
Big up here on News Now, but don't worry, the News Now experience continues on our YouTube channel at Fox 10 Phoenix. We will have a State Department.
So if you're joining me, I really appreciate it. And also I wanted to say I'm going to be making some of you moderators, if that's okay. If you can just give me a thumbs up if you're okay, if you're interested in that. That's perfect. I think it'll be a necessary tool as we grow on this channel.
Harvey Weinstein as his trial just starting.
And so it looks like I believe that 2020 is going to be a big, it's going to be a powder keg. A powder keg in so many ways. It's the degree of the spectrum of powder.
We will see you all starting here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
So I think this is the end of the particular stream. So just give me 1 second here and I will end it. So yes, I just want to make a little bit of a commentary. Just do a little bit of commentary on what we've heard. I mean, just a few things. Biden mentioned, here again, he's fear-mongering. He's talking about, oh, what another 8 years of what will Donald Trump look like? We had a deal with Iran that was working, and, oh, we had a deal on the ground, and, oh, I've been afraid of what he might do, and, you know, this is turning what we look like as a country, and, you know, just totally, he's absolutely he's playing to his base, but he's also playing, to me, he's playing to the globalists, because he also mentions some poignant things that really stood out to me, saying that because it's unprecedented that a president would stage any type of a strike or attack without Congress. Well, that's actually not true. It was actually done in the 19th century by one of our founding fathers, that an attack was staged without congressional, without their invoking congressional or even the allies. And then people keep talking about these allies. Well, if the allies are so great, why aren't they using their defense resources on the ground in these regions? Why aren't they doing that? This is the same stuff, the same point of contention that President Trump has with the United Nations as well as NATO. They are not using their resources they don't use their resources. That's why he sent in 3,600, some odd, I may be wrong, some 3,600 troops. Because these people aren't using these allies that everybody wants to pretend like we have to support our allies. Well, he's trying to get the allies. How well are we supported by allies if President Trump has to make them come up with more money to secure the world and secure their own regions? They can't be that strong of an ally. The UN, for one, are we safer because of the UN? The UN is a communist organization. It was founded by Alger Hess in San Francisco in 1945, chartered. These are known communists. And the Democrats are starting to act like, I'm going to be honest, the Democrats are actually starting to act like they are actually employees or servants of the UN right about now. They are not acting like they serve the American people. They're not acting like they're servants or employees of the American people. And Joe Biden said it right here. He says, he authorized this strike, and he didn't notify Congress or the allies. So now it says, oh, now the allies are alienated. You know, they've never been so connected to allies. But I'm telling you guys, I swear that the UN and the Congress are not, the Congress does not work, the UN does not work for the American people. No, they don't. We elected these officials to serve as the 116th Congress. We didn't elect the UN. So all of a sudden, I'm telling you guys, they're showing you who they are. They're showing you the tyrannical plans and the one world government that they are trying to enact. You got all this talk about the UN and the allies. And so they're already saying, basically, if they get back in control, if they take this country back under any administration, I believe we will be in full step doing what the UN says to do. Our military will be used, it will be used at their discretion. And eventually, they'll fade out. We'll end up, to me, eventually we'll end up without an actual commander in chief, because they're going to take over. They're ready to hand, this is what people have been talking about. They are ready to hand this country off to the UN, because now you got, now all of a sudden the UN, it's like the UN and the Congress, they're pretending like, Biden is pretending like those are one and the same, that the UN and the Congress is a body one and the same that Donald Trump has to confer with. Let's see. Okay. DJ, I am reading your message here. Give me 1 second here. I'm operating here. Okay, so you're saying even China wants to take our guns away. Yes, I don't doubt it. Let's see. Big Real is trying to tell the Dems how to run the country's Second Amendment rights. Big Red Communist China. Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's like they are basically, Joe Biden is already priming America with he's basically saying the Congress and they're already saying that the Congress and the allies, if you say the Congress and the US Congress and the allies are basically one in the same, then you're already submitting to one world government and one world order. In my opinion, you are. That's why they're upset, because Trump is acting in American interest, for American assets. He is not out here trying to talk to Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. He's not out here trying to talk to them along with the UN and along with NATO and all these allies. If they're snug as a bug with NATO and these allies, the UN, then this is easy. It's a no-brainer. They're already showing us what is going to happen the minute a Democrat steps back into that office. And it's beyond scary. And I'm telling you right now, I have to say that from this point on, this is going to be the streams are going to end up being provocative, and that's why I'm going to be recruiting some moderators, because I'm sure we'll get some pushback as we grow on this channel. But if you're okay with being a moderator, I'm happy to take, enlist some people and put you in those positions. And I do thank you guys for being here. But with all the things that are going on with this Iran situation, their tool is fear. They're doing the same thing. Like, they're doing the same kinds of stuff that's been done in history. And a lot of people like to think that because we're America, we're a young nation, that we're operating outside of history. That is not true. History is repeating itself, and it could very well repeat itself here and look very much like a communist situation. We got gun confiscation. We've got all the signs. And honestly, I've got many people that I talk to on a daily basis. They have no clue what's going on. Not only do they have no clue, but many of Americans don't actually care about what they don't know. They're not concerned about what they don't know. There used to be a saying, You know, what you don't know could hurt you. And to me, what better time? What better time now than to know that what you don't know can hurt you? Okay, I'm reading it. It says it was on Tucker tonight, 2 nights ago, via soundbite. Well, I'm telling you, it's just, we are really at a, what we don't know, the way, and people just following day-to-day news is a dangerous thing right now. It's dangerous not to know. It's dangerous to not be involved. You know, I mean, they're ready to give this country to whomever. You know, what is it, the song Beyonce wrote? Who run the world? It was who, more like who rules the world is what the struggle is. I'm sorry about that. But I've been here all the time thinking I was there. But I really appreciate you for coming on and taking the time to engage. And yes, like I said, this was just kind of an impromptu jump on, but I thought it was important for you to be able to see what Biden is saying, and probably what those, well, they're all going to be using the same talking points. They're all going to try to use this Iran situation to fearmonger. You know, that's what they love to do. That's exactly what they love to do. The only thing that Biden said from the beginning, well, you know, Soleimani wasn't a good guy. That's about the only credible thing, halfway credible, backhanded kind of comment that he made on this address to the people in Iowa. And it looks like a bunch of, you know, it's not a packed facility. It's very much to be desired there. And the questions that are coming out are coming from, to me, they're questions they're asking old questions. They're asking questions that have already been answered. So, you know, I probably wouldn't go to one of his rallies. I wouldn't do it. But thank you so much for tuning in. And like I said, I will be doing another video or possibly another live stream later today. But I did think it was interesting that we have the campaign trail is already, you know, the campaign hustling is they're already back at it. I think for one, I think Bloomberg is one of the most egregious and one of the most tyrant demonstrative that I've seen, because they're all into the gun grabbing. The gun grabbing measures are going up. So that's a real concern, and it's a real infringement. And I don't know where we're headed on that, but I'm saying that these candidates are speaking, they're making it a part of their platform. And on a stream that I did yesterday, I did give examples of that, you know, that this whole measure of disarmament has been in the works for many years. It's not a new thing. And it's been supported by some of the most pivotal administrations, including the Obama administration, JFK, Bill Clinton, and the one administration that I did post was Ronald Reagan and his support for the Second Amendment. And he was very strong on that. This was a heritage address that he did. It was yesterday. So if you want to, you know, have a look at that. But I will be back later. Basically, I'm just saying, like I can see that 2020 is going to be a big powder keg. Not trying to gaslight, but I can see it already. Big powder keg of platforms and developments, and I will say that the conversations here, the engagements here will be pretty provocative. And what I mean is it's not going to be for anybody that's not a patriot, of an American patriot. Um, we're not going to have too many softball kinds of, topics going on this channel, because it's not a softball time in history. There's a lot at stake here. And most people don't know it, or most people are thinking outside of history. They think we're outside of history, I think, just because of the youth in the nation. We're one of the younger nations. They think that these things can't happen here, but the things are already, it's already showing up here. So as I said earlier, I will be making people moderators on this particular channel for the live streams, and hopefully I will be bringing you some panels. I'd like to try to bring you some panels before the primaries as well as the general elections, but definitely before the primaries. And I don't know, maybe we'll have guests. Maybe it'll match up with somebody's area. I'm actually on the West Coast, and so I thank you again for hanging out on this particular stream. It was a bit impromptu, but nevertheless, it's still insightful to hear what Joe Biden is saying. And of course, we don't know who the nominee will be, but I still think that he's going to try to play to whatever level of moderates. He's going to keep trying to throw dung or whatever he can stick on the wall to whomever will listen. And yeah, I think that's going to be his approach. Hi, Eric. 2020 is going to be an epic political showdown. It's going to be one, if not the ugliest races in our nation's history. Absolutely, Eric, and I'm so glad to see you here. And yes, I just think it's just literally like we literally started out with a boom, and no pun intended there. We started out with a huge boom already, and I do think things are going to, it's just going to be, as you said, it's going to be epic, and it's also going to be, it's going to be dirty. We're going to see the lowest level of our lowest levels in our hierarchy of law. We're going to see the politics is going to be super dirty, and I just hope that that people will be restored in their safety, and I hope that the Second Amendment is not going to be something that we're going to sleep on. I hope that everyone will support their local seat in whatever's going on, whether that's the sheriff's office in your area, or even, because most people don't realize that our power, that's our most accessible power, is at the county and the city seat level. We've got these top-down tyrants running and that have run Washington forever, but we still have power, and we really have to make that, we have to assert our authority with what we have. And if anybody has anything else, so yes, I will be back at another time, and I thank you guys for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I will see you on the next stream, which will not be an impromptu stream. I'm not saying that I'm not going to do more impromptu streams, but when I think that there's something insightful or something that's kind of breaking news, if I'm available to do it, I'll try to bring you that. Even if you can't watch it, some people can actually listen to YouTube streams while they're at work or wherever you can. And like I said, I will be making people moderators as we grow on this channel. And also, if you would like to make a comment about something you'd like to see discussed, or either on some of the panels, if you have ideas for panels that you would like to see, I'm open to seeing that. I want to bring things to this channel that are important to the people that are subscribed, and also I want to bring as much literacy, civic literacy as I can wherever available. And so that's it. And I will tag out on that note. Thank you again.